Hello and welcome to Sidequest. This is our weekly video game show here at Geekverse. I'm your host, Dylan Muss, and I have with me. Is that Jokester or is it Jockster?
I want it to be whatever you want it to be because I noticed I misspelled it halfway through and I'm like, I'm
gonna
just
go
throw this to
Jockster then.
Dylan.
I prefer
Yeah,
Jockster
I kinda
because
like
I don't
that
know what
too.
that means, and I want to know.
It's my
I wanna
name.
find out.
Doesn't have to mean anything.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, thank you for joining me here on Sidequest. We have a fun episode here. We're just going to be talking about the games we've been playing, and I have a couple fun little tangents we can go on, so it should be a nice laid-back sort of episode. Just one quick shout out here. I'll do some other shout outs later, but I released a second episode of Sidequest last week, a spoiler cast on Claire Obscure Expedition 33, as I'm now done that game, so if you wanted to hear more discussion on that, go check out that episode. It was like hour 20 of just more all about that game, so... It's an amazing game. You need to play it at some point in your life, Kirkland. But
Yeah, I've only heard good things. I feel like
yeah.
that's been kind of a sleeper game of the year contender. I don't know if it's too early to say that, but that's kind of the buzz I've been hearing in my speak realms, whatever you call it.
I would wager that there's a lot of unknowns in the second half of the year. You know, SGF and Xbox Showcase and all this stuff is coming up soon. We're going to get a bunch more announcements, probably some other Switch 2 games. And so, yeah, I feel like there'll be some other heavy hitters. But right now, I feel like if all stays course, Expedition is cruising to that Game of the Year at the Game Awards at the very least. So, I don't know.
Sorry. My camera's been buggy. I wasn't ready for that image, though. That definitely wasn't me that set that image.
Who changed the Dexter
That
hair?
had to have been Travis. That had to have been Travis.
That's crazy. I was not ready for that.
I was not ready for that either.
Let's talk about some video games. Kirkland, one of our mutually favorite games came out a couple years ago by the name of Sea of Stars. It was my game of the year in 2023. I don't think you ever finished it, because if you did, we would have talked more spoilers about some of the crazy shit
It got
that
taken off
happens.
of the PlayStation catalog, so I was just like, lost my momentum there. But I definitely want to finish it because it was fantastic. I love that game.
Well, you know, now if you do, there's even a little bit more for you to do now, because just last week the DLC, Throes of the Watchmaker, released for the game. It's a free add-on, so you don't have to pay any extra for it. And I think the game's on sale right now in honor of the DLC being out too. So a good time for people to pick it up, or in your case, pick it up again and finish through it. So this is like post-game content. It's weirdly not like it's not like an epilogue or anything. It doesn't necessarily follow the events of the end of the story, but you can only access it once you've rolled credits on the game. You don't have to get like the secret ending and all that stuff. Just beat the game once and then you can access it. Which is something I'm curious about, because I feel like it's very sequestered. Like the skills and like the leveling up is very much like just in its own little realm. Doesn't really tie back into the main game. It's not like you're going into the DLC, getting some crazy weapon, bringing it back to the main game, or vice versa. So I don't know why they made it post-game stuff. I guess this is mostly a treat for people like me who are absolutely in love with the game and want to come back to it. And I guess like for you, there's no reason why you shouldn't just like beat the main game first, I guess, and then come to this. But it was kind of odd because it is completely separate from the main game. It took me about 8 hours to do it, and that was like 100% completion of it. So it's not huge. Like I think the base game was like maybe 45 hours or something to do. Like I think I got mostly 100% completion, 99% probably, something like that. So another like a fifth of the game, I guess, just kind of chucked out here for free, which is pretty cool. And part of this, and it being post-game content, is that they wanted to make it pretty difficult, and it is, both puzzles and combat-wise. It's like a good challenge at certain parts and all that. But yeah, I had a great time with it. It's more Sea of Stars, but it's really great. It mixes in here really well. It kind of fits. I'd say it's more silly. And there is, some darker stuff in it, like a little more diving into some of the characters' backstory and some of their insecurities, and like almost like putting them on display, which is interesting. But it is like very silly, even more so compared to like what the base game is, which has like jokes and stuff, but I think isn't primarily comedy. But this is like the setting. It's a weird theme. It's like a mixture of like just the gears from like steampunk kind of aesthetic stuff and like a circus. So it's like gear steampunky circus, which I don't think I've ever seen those two things clicked together before, but it actually works perfectly. It's like a really fun aesthetic thing, and obviously because you have like a circus and goofy jockster type characters, you get a lot of goofy bits, really funny dialogue. I found, like, particularly compared to the base game, even like just the writing team just seemed like they were having so much fun here, funny little puns or just like things that made me laugh throughout it, and then like physical gags too, and even just changing, I forget what Valir, like the blue moon main character, I forget what her base attack is, because she just like uses her baton, right? And I forget what they call it, if they just call it physical, but in this they just like call it bonk, and now it's just like a different type of it's like a different type of attack that you use to
Nice.
like break the combos and whatnot. So yeah, they're really leaning into like the goofiness of it, and like even all the special combos are like way more goofy than they were in the base game. So yeah, it's super fun. I can't recommend it enough, and it's free. So what are you gonna do? Not play it? Like it's a really great
Yeah.
add-on to this already almost perfect game.
That's so interesting, like the way that you're describing it, and especially just comparing to like the circus vibe. It feels like the whole DLC is like a circus coming through the game, and it's goofy, it's fun,
Yeah.
it's like maybe less serious, like you said, like it's more like lighter, I guess, than like the main game isn't like super super dark, but I feel like you're following like the main story, and
Mm-hmm.
in that regard it's kind of like a more serious adventure, just
Yeah,
because
I think
there's
I mean
betrayals and stuff like that.
the game gets pretty dark in the like
Yeah. Okay.
second half. I'll say like it goes to some places, whether it's like individual characters and their backstories and stuff like that. But just I still don't want to spoil it, because I know someday you probably
Yeah.
will finish this game, and
Definitely.
I'm excited to talk to you about some of those story beats and things. But yeah, the game does get pretty dark, but this. It has a little bit of darkness in there, but the stakes feel much smaller, which is good because it is
Yeah.
like a smaller little DLC add-on there. So yeah, as I mentioned, like it is kind of completely sequestered. The way it works is you go in. It's like there's the clockmaker is a character, or watchmaker. I forget if it's clockmaker or watchmaker. One of the two. She makes clocks, she makes watches, which you make one, you make the other, so, to some extent. But anyway, you go. It's almost like a Pikmin or like a Minish Cap situation where you like shrink down and like go inside the world of this clock that she had created, and then like the
Classic.
whole thing is like set. That's the setting of it there. But for this, you enter as Valir and Zale, like the two protagonists of the
Hmm.
game. The what do they call them? Freaking the sun twin, not the sun twins, the solstice twins. There you go.
Nice.
Yeah, you enter as the Solstice Twins, leaving the rest of the party behind. Like no one else comes into this, and then they add a third character who's actually from the base game as well, but they like promote this character to playable status. I'm just gonna go.
I'm sorry. Yes, I'm not
all
doing that on
good.
purpose. I'm not doing that.
I'm gonna walk past if it keeps happening. You bring in a character who is not playable from the main game, but it was like a part of the story, particularly in the second half. So that's fun to get like a character promoted to playable status. And obviously that new character gets like a fully new moveset. But what they've done too is like with Zale and Valir, they've taken their movesets and they've given them completely new movesets. They have completely new stats. As I mentioned, they have completely new attacks. Their look is even different. Like Valir is like just literally doing a handstand at all times during combat. Just like an acrobat in the circus. So she's always doing a handstand. Then she like does her combos out of that. And then Zale, he's like a juggler, and he's like juggling like fire sticks or whatever. And
Awesome.
so it's kind of slightly tied to like what their original versions were like, and the moon attacks and the sun attacks. But then yeah, they get like a fully new move set, so completely new abilities to kind of get the timings down of, and the different like attributes that they do. And then because of that, you get fully new combo attacks that when they mix together. You remember you can like combo certain characters
Hmm.
at a time and do like a bigger power attack. So that's all great. It feels pretty much like you're getting 3 new characters worth of movesets, even if 2 of them are characters from the base game that are getting like a new class. But of course, once again, like really leaning into that comedy, which like in one of the characters that you're getting in there, he like shoots out cannons into the air, and then he walks around with like a giant trampoline, and so it like
Oh,
bounces
nice.
off the enemy, and then it just flies somewhere on the map. So you got to like frantically run, like almost like an Overcooked way, like run around
Yeah.
and like put the trampoline under the cannonball so that it bounces back and hits the opponent. And then in the Sea of Stars way, it gets harder and harder and faster. So that was a super fun ability. And one of Zale's is like he starts juggling, and then he like starts juggling, like bouncing it off the opponent, and then you get the timing down, like the rhythm game sort of thing.
That's so
And then
fun.
like deal a bunch of bonus damage. So yeah, it really leans into that silliness of it with all the movesets as well, and all those new abilities were like super fun. So yeah, I really liked all that stuff. And then I think one thing that I criticize, like a lot of games like this, like I feel like the new God of War games, people, including me, are like, man, fuck these puzzles. This is just a waste of time. Like, just slows the game down. These aren't fun or interesting puzzles. They just get in the way, and there's a lot of games that do that. And I think once again, I probably did highlight this back when Sea of Stars was coming out. Like, the puzzles in this game are, to me, as interesting as the combat. They're really well designed. They're really fun. They really, like, eat up a huge chunk of space, and you're really solving this, like, big thing. You're using movement abilities to get around the place, and it's I don't know. I feel like that's such a highlight of this game too. And then the puzzles don't just feel like filler to waste time, but instead they're like just as interesting as the combat system. And so the puzzles in here are like top notch as well. Some of the best in the whole game. I think the combat just in the base game, since you have more characters, maybe a couple more abilities, that kind of thing. It's like probably has a little more depth overall. But since this is like here's just like 8 hours of using these abilities and getting new unlocks and stuff, it kind of works in that way. And like all your equipment too is like completely new for this DLC. And you're leveling up those tiers of things. Oh, and I got a new weapon, I got a new ring, and that stuff doesn't come back with you to the main game as well. So it's all very balanced for this, which is once again why I feel like it's a bit weird that it's specifically post game content and you can't access it earlier. Like it feels like they could have like tuned the stats so it like depending on what level you are, that kind of stuff will just I don't know.
Especially that you don't pull any other characters in, like characters that you might meet later in the chapters. That's kind of bizarre in that regard. And
like you never use the same abilities
also.
that you had in like in the base game. So kind of an interesting choice, but it's fine. Another highlight, of course, for me is like one of my favorite games within games is Wheels. The bar game across the map that you do multiple times here. And so for this, it's the same game, but they have one new piece in there, and then there's like 4 new champions in the town, in this little circus town, and then one elsewhere that you can battle. And so just having more wheels is always a benefit, a bonus for me, because I spent so many hours figuring out that game and having such a great time with it.
I gotta give Wheels another chance. I definitely gave up on Wheels. I feel like I gave like one good go, like did a couple games, and then it just didn't click with me right away. And I was just so interested in like continuing on the story that I just left Wheels behind. I'm like, yeah, maybe one day. Many games, I feel like it's 50-50 coin toss. I don't know if I really like latch on to the mini game into it. Like Gwent roped me in.
Yeah.
Just the different games, adventure games like that. Like even Red Dead 2. I remember Red Dead 1, I played so much of the poker. Like I just spent so much time with it. Red Dead 2. The first game, I played a lot of it, but I'm like, I just want to continue on with this story, so I don't really have time for that. But it's usually hit or miss with me with those little mini games within games.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was a great highlight that they had more in there. It was just one new piece, and like all the champions use that piece mixed with another one. So it just, a little bit more variety, a little bit more to do there. I wonder, actually, now that I think about it, I wonder if that's something that you can carry back to the main game, that new piece, because you get it as well, and you can use it in your moveset, and you can put it on your board once you have unlocked it. I wonder if you can like bring that back into the main game and like use that piece, because that would seem like something that's pretty balanced still, maybe even if your opponents can't use it. But every game's like you're not using every piece, you're just using 2 of the like 6 or 7 that are available. So I wonder if that's a thing. I will say this game, it crashed a couple times, and I had a soft lock as well, which I don't remember the base game having any bugs, and I played it at launch as well, like I am this. So I don't know, there's a little bit less playtesting that happened there, I'm not sure, but kind of weird for that to happen. Never really lost any progress. The game autosaves pretty often, right? So it wasn't a big deal, but I definitely saw a couple people on the Reddit talking about how they're like deep in a boss fight, and then the game like crashed at some point, and that would be, really disheartening because some of the boss fights are freaking hard as hell. So if I was like deep in one, spent 10 minutes battling them, and then the game just crashed, that would be super frustrating. So be careful of that. I'm sure it'll get patched pretty quick because it's pretty small, DLC overall. So hopefully they fix that stuff up. And I think all of it's like happens in combat usually. So hopefully they can at least target that down. One of the bosses I wanted to highlight that it's hard to even describe, but it's your team of 3 up against one guy, and it's a really complicated system. There's like 5 mirrors behind him that are kind of like alternating, coming up and down, and then there's like a spotlight or 2 that like shine on these different mirrors, and then there's like a box on the right side of the map, and at any point you can hit the box instead of the boss, and then it will like shift where the spotlights are, and if at any point the spotlights are in the same spot as a mirror, the boss can go there and then like charge up a really, 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 really powerful attack. And so it became this like really fun mini game of keeping track of like, okay, I gotta hit this spotlight, and I gotta hit it like specific. I gotta make sure I get my timing down to hit it twice to get the spotlight out of this way, or I just put it where there's no mirror at all. And then as the fight goes on and on, like he has just more mirrors up at all given times, and then like an additional spotlight, and then he has like some like goofy little sidekick worm tongue type who like comes in every once in a while and like turns the dial. So like even though you've planned it perfectly, he just kind of rotates it again. So that boss fight was really cool. Just such a weird design. It took me a few tries because like the first try or two, I was like, I don't even know what the hell is going on with this boss fight. But eventually, like, you really have to maximize that. And I feel like a lot of the time, it's like really easy to tunnel vision and be like, I'm just gonna put whenever I have a turn, I'm putting all my damage into the boss. But in this one, you really had to be careful of the counter attacks because he just does so much damage. And then I don't want to spoil the final boss, but it was amazing. It was super cool thematically. The visual element of it was really, really great. So big shout out to that. Just for anyone who has played it, you'll know how cool that boss fight is. Um, and what else did I want to shout out here? Oh yeah, another funny thing is Zale. He has a heal in this where he just takes a pie and throws it at a teammate. Very
Nice.
classic comedy thing. But if you do that on himself, he like frisbees it. Like he'll throw the pie out in like front of him, and then just like gravity's back and smacks him in the face, which is just so stupid and fun. So there's so many dumb little gags in here that were really great. So yeah, I can't say enough good things about this DLC. It was super duper fun. I don't know if it like makes me like Steve Stars more overall than I did previously because I already love that game so freaking much and I have like no issues with it whatsoever. So it's just more of a good thing. But yeah, super duper good time. And then I think the last thing with this is I had a bit of a realization when I was playing through this. I'm like, man, I think this is probably the last game I'll ever play on my Switch 1 because the Switch 2 is coming out in a few days. Probably not playing anything else on this. I'm probably going to sell this Switch and just, have the Switch 2. No reason to have both for me. And so this is perfect because, when I played Sea of Stars back when it came out, it took me like a month or two to beat the game. And not that even that was super duper long, 40, 45 hours, not atrocious for an RPG, but it was just like a comfort game. And I was like, I don't want this game to end. I'm just going to play little bits at a time, play it a few times a week for a little bit. And just like, it just lasted for a long time. And it was such a comforting game to always come back to. Even if at times it's like super difficult, but it was just such a nice world, happy world, beautiful pixel art, amazing music, and all that stuff. And so it was just nice to have that again for like a week here, even though it's a much shorter amount of time than the base game was. But man, just being back in that world was such a joy. So yeah, it was kind of a fun way to sunset the Nintendo Switch for me as well, because that was definitely one of my favorite games that I played on this console, even though it wasn't exclusive or anything like that. But it was definitely one of my favorite things that I played on this thing over the last few years.
Yeah, no, we're pour one out for the Switch 1. That's it's a good game to end off on at least. Yeah, no, you're just selling me on wanting to get this game again. So it's you bastard. I'm trying not to buy games right now, but I'm definitely wanting to get in there on everything you just. But I mean, the base game already is just so much content, and it's so awesome that they just released this for free.
Yeah.
And made it feel different and like to the side, like adjacent to what the main game is. It is a little bit like puzzling, like why you can't just access it from the get go. But also, yeah, like where I'm at, I just want to focus kind of on where I left off with the story. So
well, yeah, one more. Obviously, I did mention it is on sale right now, so a good time to pick it up if you do. But I know we talked about this at some point, though. They did add co-op at some point, so I don't know if this would be. Did you play it with Shay? Because that was added after you were done playing the game.
Shay was watching me play it, and she was definitely interested. So yeah, maybe.
Yeah, so there you go. Maybe another incentive to pick this up again. It could be a good co-op.
If I sell her on a game, that's like we're getting that. No hesitation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, maybe look into that because that would be. I'd love to hear. Because
good reminder.
I'm super curious how the co-op would work at all. Like I don't. Can
probably
you
just someone doing like the actual like action, like how if you're controlling whoever, Zale or Valier, maybe just both of them like have an opportunity to kind of do that. But like, does that person also
could
just
you be in different points in the
single...
world at the same time? Like I imagine you'd have to be in the same area. So I don't know how that would work. And I feel like
I'll
a lot of puzzles
back.
you could cheese if you had two playable characters. So I wonder. I don't know. I'm really curious how it works. I was wondering when I was playing this if you could play wheels against. I think you can, because I think I noticed that when I went up and was doing that, like just in the bars, and one of the had like a new option that was like competitive game or co-op game or whatever the wording was that made it seem like that was, and it was grayed out. So I imagine that was like for multiplayer.
Right.
I was like, man, we should like throw that in there for Gauntlet. I'd love to see Travis and Taylor just like so confused playing wheels, trying to figure out what the hell is going on here. So that could be a funny game to throw in the mix there. But yeah,
I was gonna say I'm not playing you. I'm not playing you in wheels.
I would dominate. I think. Yeah, I'm pretty good at this point. But it's not it's a knowledge based game, not a skill based game. Not that would make it easier, but just could be fun to see different strategies. I'm sure there's some. I'm a big archer guy. I love using an archer, and then I like switch out my second one. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sure everyone would have their different preferences and all that. All right, I think that's a good point to take a quick break and just tell you guys a little bit how you can support the show. Patreon, Kirkland Patzer is the best place to go. I would wager. Do you agree?
I would have to agree with you. I think that's the single greatest place to get all of our content early and exclusive, ad free. We got different tiers. We got different exclusive stuff going on. Look at that banner down there scrolling along. For the different tiers, at our $5 tier and above, of course, we have our Patreon call-in show, which is happening this Friday, if I'm not mistaken, for After 9. And I'm not going to say a time because I feel like I'm going to say the wrong time unless you have it off the top of your dome. I imagine it's like
definitely an evening.
A traditional
Evening
6 p.m.
PST.
or perhaps. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Something like that.
Between 6 and 9. That's my prediction. So it says after 9, but the name's usually misinforming.
Yeah, I mean, it's after a 9 that occurred at one point in time, right? How many times have we passed a 9? We're after so many 9s in our life.
So many 9s.
An unbelievable amount of 9s. Also, the Expedition 33 episode I did, it is on the free feeds now, but if you want the ad-free version, it's there. And it was also up there a few days early, anytime I record a Sidequest thing early, I just dump it on there immediately, so you have access to it as soon as it's been recorded. And sometimes that takes weeks or months, or in this case, it was just days. But sometimes, it's a long time for something just sitting on there. And for some things, they're only ever on there. So it's a good place to go to check out some of that stuff. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Aaron Braden, April of Darkness, Jack Grant, Sam Superbad, Mike, TGGLM69, Jeremy Renner, Charlie Randall, and Cocktail Clay. Thank you guys so much for supporting us and making this happen. You know what I mean? Without these people and many other supporters, whether, even if you're not on Patreon, if you're just listening, without you guys, we wouldn't be here. What would you be doing right now if you weren't doing this podcast?
I don't know. I'll probably nothing inspiring or impressive.
I'd be like digging a ditch, and I'd be miserable. Yeah, I'd be sad. That's what I'd be doing.
Digging a ditch. Yeah. I would probably be with you digging that same ditch, just helping out. Yeah. We'd just be ditch diggers, and that's no life.
That's no life for me.
Maybe it is. Maybe it pays well. Not to offend any ditch diggers out there that do it for a living.
Yeah. But you want to be passionate about what you do, and we're passionate about this. And so thank you for letting us. We're blessed to be able to do this for as much as we do. So thank you. You can also join our Discord, chat with us if you want to do such a thing. And what else is going on? I think that's pretty much it. Hit up YouTube. If you ever, I've been trying to put everything of Sidequest into one nice playlist there on YouTube. So if you like watching, it's pretty easy to go backtrack through all those episodes. So you can go do that. If you hate ads as much as anyone else hates ads, you can go to the Patreon to get those episodes. But otherwise, you can listen to this ad right now. We'll be right back. Okie dokie, we are back, Kirklin. Did you see this last week that they confirmed that Stellar Blade is getting a sequel?
I did not, but that is so crazy because I was actually going to drop because I told you about some games I've been playing, but I left out maybe one, maybe two, and one of them being Stellar Blade. So that's crazy timing because I took a little bit of hiatus. I'm sorry?
Talking about some completion stuff? What were you doing back
I was raving about the game the first time I jumped into it earlier at some point in this life that is ours. I can't remember the specific time. But, I love that game. I love the combat in it. Yes. And I was just so impressed by how, AAA the game seemed for a studio that I believe has only done mobile games before that. So it was just such a feat in that regard. But I just got so hooked in the combat. There's very different sequencing on the mechanics and everything. And when you just put in a lot of time, it's just really rewarding to beat bosses. And I, like a fool, bit off a little bit too much than I could chew. And I'm like, I'm going to get the platinum first playthrough in this game. And the more I dug into it, it's it's a very much a game that you have to beat multiple times to there's different endings based on how it goes. And I'm like, easy. I'm just going to really strategically get saves in. I'm going to follow a guide. And it was going pretty well until I got to a point that it's basically a point of no return. And you have to do all these collectibles before you advance the main story. Otherwise... minor spoilers. A certain area gets bombed, and you're never gonna be able to go back there. And so I'm like, okay. I was flying through the story. I was getting all the collectibles at a really good pace as I'm going along. And I got to this point, and there's just some bullshit side quests you have to do, and there is some things that I really grew to hate about the game. It's it doesn't affect the overall score of the game, but just the specific side questing where I have to go to certain areas And when you go to certain areas, it's not like you're just free roaming. Like it's kind of like you're replaying a certain level. So you start at the back,
Okay.
and there's
I
no
see.
map on those levels for some reason. Just certain
Oh.
areas, there's just no map to pull up. And if you're looking for like a specific item, it's such a shit show. It's basically you have to follow like a YouTube walkthrough to like even find them. And I was
That's
so
a sign of a
stubborn.
bad achievement list or trophy list if it's like that
Yeah.
kind of annoying stuff. You know, I think whatever it was Ghost of Tsushima did that so great, where it's like get like half the collectibles and then we're
Yeah.
happy enough with that.
Easy.
And I feel like certain games need to do things like that, or usually it's like complete all the quests, but sometimes some of these quests should not be on that achievement thing, in my opinion.
And like to play devil's advocate to that same point, I feel like it is still unique when games do have different endings, and I think that it's okay to have trophies for different endings. Like it's the good ending or the bad ending. Like Dishonored, great example, right? Beat the game, clean hands. You feel good when you get that. So when you get that achievement, like I'm pretty sure that was the last achievement I got when I like completed the first Dishonored game. So it felt really good. I had to play the game multiple different times. But like you said with the collectibles, I think that's one maybe we can shave off. Maybe not 100% of it. And like this one has like 99 cans that you have to catch, and just like many different things like that. So I just bit the bullet. I'm like, I'm never gonna get this. I don't know why I made this limiter on myself, especially being a near 30-year-old gamer. Like I just don't have time for this shit anymore.
Question: Could you not make a save right at the point of no return and then go? I guess it's saying it's not like the end of the game. It just bombs.
It's like
that
halfway
area.
through the game. Like
Okay,
it's like a big story shift, and I am past that point now. To spoil my own long-winded story here. You can't just make a save point though in the game. It's very
Autosaves
much
only
like I can
situation?
save my progress, but I can't just reload like a past progress. It's just like save the game and then exit. So the workaround that I was finding on this guide that I was reading online is like essentially you have to make like a cloud save in that location, which you do like through PlayStation Network. And this is just getting too complicated. It's like this is too much. I don't know why I'm doing this. This is so ridiculous. I don't know why I do this to myself. But anyways, jump back in there, playing the game, having a good time, and it's so funny because where I was in the story, without spoiling anything, it's like a dungeon, but to enter the dungeon, it's a boss fight, and that's literally where I was at. Like that's where I stopped. So I'm like, okay, this is where I'm at. I'm gonna go do all these collectibles.
That's rough.
So I jump back in the game. I'm like, fuck the collectibles. I'm going in there. I'm going to experience the story. I see the first cutscene I've seen in months because I just haven't been playing the story. Get into the first boss fight. I get bopped so hard. Like literally, it's like I'm super underleveled in like a Souls game, and I'm just getting one shot by these enemies. And it's not like they're just one hitting me. It's just they're like parrying every attack that I'm throwing at them, and just like humbling me. Like I feel like I'm playing a PvP game, and I'm just in a completely different skill bracket to this play. Like they're just bopping me. It was kind of funny because like I was trying to relearn the mechanics during this boss fight when I'm like, this is so stupid. Like I should just go fight some mobs, get used to the controls again, like actually pull up like the controller map. And I did that, and I put a couple hours in, and then went back there and popped off, and it was just as satisfying as I remember it being. The fights. I completely forgot that you even have a weapon like in that, like you have like a ranged weapon like you do in the Nier games. Completely forgot about that mechanic until I got into the dungeon, because when you get in the dungeon, for some story reason, you can't use your melee weapon at all. So you're just like in the dungeons, it's only a ranged weapon sequence, and I just didn't know why I couldn't attack anything. I was dying to mobs. It was a kind of a funny like relearning of the game, especially jumping in at this like point of no return point. But yeah, no, I'm so glad I jumped back in there because this game is just so phenomenal. I think because I took a little bit of a hiatus, it was like fresh again jumping in there. So yeah, no, I've been having lots of fun, and I've accepted that I'm not going to collect everything. There's a lot in there. I've already collected a lot. And I kind of forgot a lot of the story, so I am pretty confused. Like any of these like strange Eastern games, like the stories just don't make sense a lot of time. Like an anime, it's just there's crazy stuff going on, and to jump in like halfway through, I'm like, oh gosh, I don't know who this character is. This character just betrayed me. I don't even remember who they are, but they're like someone that popped in the early chapters. So it's kind of a funny thing there, but. Sorry to take your wind away from your news you're about to drop there, but I'm peaked now.
Perfect.
You piqued my interest on this Stellar Blade news.
I'm gonna be honest. I have no more information than that. I just saw that there was a sequel that was announced.
That was just to lead you into your news.
I mean, I don't think there's much because the game just came out last year, right?
Yeah,
so it's not
very new.
It's not like they're deep in
It
development
had
on
the
it.
Nier
They
DLC,
just
which is like something pretty minor, but yeah, I think
yeah.
still,
They have like the
dropping a
crossover
couple
DLCs.
things.
Like they did the Nier one. They did the Nikkei or whatever that series is. That's like a horny mobile game that
Of
they
course,
put
yeah.
some put some skins.
It's
in
the
there.
genre. It's the genre.
Oh, it's perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah.
But yeah, the game just launched on PC now, I believe, or it's coming out very
Okay.
soon. And so I think that was like a second win for the game, and it sold really well originally. I'm sure it's going to sell even like bigger numbers on PC. That seems like a good, kind of community for that sort of game. So yeah, I think they just like pretty much like, hey, we made bank on this game and we're officially rolling out a sequel. So I think that's cool. It gets the excitement up, and I'm sure even with the PC launch too, that gets people like who are on the fence of being like, oh, I'm going to pick this up now because I know there's another game coming, and it's a good time to pick it up, sort of thing. But I know since you haven't beaten the game yet, maybe it's hard to say this, but I was just going to ask if there's anything that comes to mind of you like, oh, I'm really excited for this in a sequel, or I want them to change this, or like I imagine they'll stick with the same character. I assume she doesn't die at the end, but I don't know, maybe she does. But yeah,
Yeah.
I imagine like even the story wise, like based on where you're at, like can you already like foresee what a sequel thing could be, or I don't know, is it kind of just a big mystery at this point?
I think the world is set up in such a good way with like attaching what the world is, who the factions are, and then like tying that into the gameplay. Like I can see that like making a franchise out of that, honestly. Like it is unique enough. I think every game you can kind of evolve on it, like a step up on this enemy type. Like it's a familiar looking enemy. I imagine like the Horizon Zero Dawn kind of the similar thing where you might be seeing like a similar type of animal. I don't know if they're called that. But like just an evolution of it. Maybe you're in a completely different range. Maybe I'm speaking on my wheelhouse here, but just I feel like you can see the natural progression of what they could do. Maybe different
Right.
customization with the specific weapon, because you kind of get like little upgrades to your damage numbers, but not necessarily the weapon itself. And it is very
Okay.
much like the character that you're playing. Like you don't customize your character, so they like make sense what you have. And in terms of like the character, I can see it going either way. Of course, I'm asterisk next to it because I haven't beaten the game. I haven't seen like my main character of Eve die. But I
Right.
also like Eve is one of many different types of android type characters,
Sure.
so I could also see a new character come into play. I like Eve. I think she's a fun protagonist, but like she's also pretty bland and
Okay, pretty blank slate.
yeah. It's just like a lot of stuff's happening around her. It's like, oh my goodness, this is so horrible. And she just seems kind of airheady, but like she also kind of is because she's just a war android and like she doesn't really know how the world
Right.
works. So I guess it kind of works in that sense.
Yeah.
So honestly, I could see it going either way. But in terms of a sequel, I think that's exciting news because the game is really fun for me to play, and I can see it happening in just the natural progression, even to the extent of fixing some quality of life issues that I already have with, like I said, like when you go back to certain levels, you just can't pull up your map. Like, what the fuck is this? This is like a PS2 game. This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Expedition 33 has that too. Yeah, it seems
okay.
like a thing that's kind of lower on the priority list for some of these
Yeah.
developers. But yeah, it's a nice thing. Like some people struggle with that a lot more than other people too. So I feel like
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe just the developers who are like in charge of that stuff are like, oh, this map, I've walked through it 3,000 times. It's easy to navigate, but if you just go through it once or twice, or if like in your case you're not going through the same areas super duper a ton of times, right? It sounds like
Yeah, no.
it's just like going back there for collectibles. So it's like, I don't know, maybe it's like, why would we need a map? But then when you're doing the collectibles, it is nice to have that kind of thing. It's tricky.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And another comparison I would make is the progression of Neo 1 to Neo 2. I played a little bit of Neo 2 just kind of to see what they changed. And a big mechanic in Neo is you get these like spirit guardians that are with you throughout the whole game. You can kind of choose which ones you have. They're different animals, more or less. And you basically get this like bar that you can use, and it just like transforms your weapon into like a spirit weapon. And then from Neo 2, they made it so like your character just becomes like a demon. It's just like an evolution of that same mechanic, but it's just like
Yeah,
way
nice.
bigger. And I can see a similar thing kind of happening in if they want to go that route with Stellar Blade, because there's a story reason for why your character essentially has like a Super Saiyan type mode, and it's very temporary. And I could see them just in an anime sense, just like, how can we make this crazier and even more, exciting and visually pleasing? Like
Yeah.
I could see them going. It's just there's so many little avenues I can see that they improve it. Whether it's even just like the free roaming around the sandboxy areas, because like all these again, like an anime type game. Well, there's a JRPG. There's a fishing aspect to it. I
Sure,
never
yeah.
participated in it. I did a little bit when I was trying to get the collectibles, but it's not
Is there
really
a
the
game
most
within the
fleshed out.
game? Is there like a bar game in this card game? or
There's
something?
little arcade games that you
Oh,
can
cool.
find. I haven't really interacted with those, so I can't even
Yeah.
remember really if it's just like you interact with it and then like that's it, or if there's actually a little mini game to it.
Oh yeah.
There
Right.
is little mini games in it, but like some of them are side questy sort of
Yeah.
situations. So I don't know if I'd call it like a wheels comparison, for example. But why not add that in there? Add that to Stellar Blade 2.
Put wheels
Let's do it.
in Stellar Blade. That's That's the next crossover I want.
With the pixel art and everything, it just totally shifts.
That'd be
That could be
cool.
fun. Pretty meta. So
Yeah.
yeah, no,
In,
this is cool news.
yeah. Sorry, going back to what you were saying about Neo. In Neo 2, when you do the transformation, like, is that you go into like a bear form and like have a new move set, or is it just like you turn into a bear and like do like a one kind of set animation attack?
No, you like turn. So you're they're called. Oh my gosh, what are they called? It's wow. It's like a yotai, I think is what they're called. It's essentially just a demon in
The
Japanese.
ghost of
like,
Yotai.
yeah, I know that's why I'm second guessing it. It's
That'd
something
be
along
crazy.
those lines. But yeah, essentially it's just like a jab. Like if you see like an old feudal Japan like painting, and then you just see like the image of a demon, how they have like the crazy face
Oh
with the
yeah,
eyes,
yeah, I can picture
like
that.
those are like big enemies in the game. And then in the second game, you can choose kind of like I didn't get that far, so I don't know if it works the same in the Spirit Guardian sense where you like collect them and then you get to like be a different form. But I just remember at the start of the game, you kind of choose like a different variation of them. So you can choose like a big, heavy kind of like demon that you'll just turn into, and your character literally turns into it. And you still have like a weapon that you're using, like you're not just going full bestial mode, at least from what I remember, or at least that was the version of the demon that I chose. Like the one I chose was really nimble, and because I use like quick weapons, so you could just kind of like bounce around and just do crazy attacks, and you're just hitting way harder and like flame imbued attacks. And yeah, so
Nice.
it's
That's
awesome.
cool.
It's awesome.
That's great. Uh, well, speaking of games within games, you said in Red Dead one of your favorite games within games was
Mhm.
poker. There's
Yeah.
another game that has poker in it by the name of Balatro. Tell me about
Hell
Balatro.
yes. I have been waiting so long to play on this game. You were raving about it. Friends in different like social circles, maybe just people I play like I work with. Like I don't like they probably play games, but they're not just like talking about video games all the time. They're like, man, have you heard of this game Balatro? Like I'm just hooked. I'm like, yeah, I've heard about it. It's amazing. Everyone's been telling me about it. Patron Tyler, he's been going hard on
Hell yeah.
Balatro. He's got it on the phone. And it got added to the monthly games of PlayStation, which just
right.
it was like
I think
a
it's on Game
Christmas.
Pass right now too, actually.
Nice. Yeah. So it was like a little Christmas present there. I finally got the chance to jump in there, and yeah, I got so hooked for like the first 3 hours I think of playing this game. Um, I. I understand it now. At first, I was like a little bit standoffish. I'm like, this is it? Like, this is really the game? Until you get like a really good Joker pull or something. And then
Yeah,
all of a
yeah.
sudden, those numbers are just like I guess it's the same thing with like all roguelike games. You know, you just get that one good run going and you're just hooked. Maybe I understand gambling now. Like I felt like just a Vegas fiend. I'm like, oh my god, like I'm going all the way. This is so huge. I'm like defeating the blinds in one hand because my multipliers are just getting up there. And then I get one rotation and it's just horrible and it just ends my whole run. I haven't gotten like to the end yet, so like
Okay.
so I feel like I'm still really early on. I actually got it on the phone now because Shane and I were just on a trip, and
Nice. Yeah.
Tyler convinced me. It's just a fantastic mobile game, and yeah, no, I've been having lots of fun with that one. Like the blueprints though, I feel like there's many times where like I'll just get in like a hot streak and I'm like, holy crap, like I just feel like I can't be defeated, and then like I just said, like yeah, it just doesn't go well. Maybe like I start a new run and I just don't pull like any, or maybe I make some poor decisions, and I just end like really early on. So
Yeah.
I haven't found like my perfect flow of just like consistency for it, but I've been trying some different strategies. I feel like I definitely was relying on like the same poker hands. It's done a good job at teaching me poker a little bit better. I think you were speaking to that, at
Yeah,
least
definitely.
identifying what the hands are. But yeah, I definitely find myself like if I find like a straight joker that like multiplies like a straight, or like just certain, I mean, it's so dependent. Like I can't really choose which ones I'm gonna get. It's just the ones that pop up in the shop. But lately, yeah, if I see like a good straight multiplier, for some reason I just
You're
get
drawn to
good
that.
luck with some
Nice.
discards, and then it's just like a full straight right in front of me that maybe has some suits that are giving me some more multipliers in there as well. And yeah, something else I feel like I really don't use enough is the consumables. I find myself a lot of like in runs where I just don't even have them like at all, or if I do, it's like pull a celestial card and play it right away. So I don't even really have anything in my consumables. Is that something that you would recommend? Like really like focusing more on that because you only have so much money in the shop. I just feel like I'm gonna max out all my jokers right away, and then go from there, and then maybe pull some celestials cards to amplify. Like I said, like just common hands that I find myself using a lot. But yeah, like,
Yeah.
what are your kind of early strategies? I know the game gets crazy. Like, when I was hanging out with Tyler, he was playing it. Like, he was definitely like past the end game, so he's just doing like where you have like millions of points and stuff, and it's just insane how
Yeah.
much you can stack those multipliers. But yeah,
Yeah.
as a new player, you know,
Yeah, I mean, I like with the celestial cards, I always like to power up at least two or like three types of hands, like as a
okay,
focus, generally speaking, because one thing the game will do is like, for example, let's say you're doing straights like 90% of the time, or you like just let's say you have like 20 straights in a run versus you've only done like a pair like a couple times. You know how you can
yeah.
like go on your screen and see how many times you've
Oh,
done
you can
each
see
one.
that. How
You
do you do
can
that?
when you go in like the run info and see
Oh,
like
okay.
what a full house is, what a straight is. It'll tell you the number of times you've done it in this particular run, which is very helpful.
Okay.
Some jokers like multiply off that kind of thing, so it's good to
Yeah.
like be able to reference that information.
Okay.
But what the game does, and it's cruel sometimes because you know how each boss blind is like some debuff or some additional challenge. Often what the game does is it like is reading what you are doing most commonly, and then it's saying like you'll
Mm,
get no points for straights. So you might get super deep into a run, but if you've put all your eggs in the straight basket, then you might get screwed over if you don't have a way
okay.
to negate. There are multiple ways to remove or change the boss blind, right? So that there could be a way around it, but if you don't have one of those things in your back pocket, you might get screwed over. So I think it's for me, I like to kind of diversify and have a little bit, even though I usually do have a focus of like I'm trying to thin my deck to only so I can get more full houses and more pairs and triples and things, or
Mm-hmm.
like maybe just narrowing down my suits so I'm gonna get like flushes at a higher rate, but like I
Right.
probably want to get like a few different ways that I could get a win. Because yeah, sometimes you'll get like a boss blind that's like you only get one hand, and so you have to have some monster combo, right? So you got
Yeah.
to be able to like have multiple things going on there as well. But also, it's nice that you can see the boss blinds a couple rounds out, so you can like kind of prepare for them or try and like counteract them when they're coming up. So that's definitely a thing. And then yeah, I think really getting a hold of the tarot cards is like a huge unlock early on to make you just so much better at the game. In terms of the money side of things, there's two tarot cards that directly give you money. One that just gives you a flat rate, and then one that gives you like the sell value of all your jokers. So a lot of time it's like, okay, if I buy a tarot, like what am I going to get? And you might just get something that gives you that amount of money right back to you. So it can often be worth it of just like, well, I might as well do this because then I'll just get a little bit money or my money back, and then I can like shop more and like look at more things that are available there.
Hmm.
But yeah, and then the super duper OP one that I absolutely love is the Fool, which just duplicates whatever the last tarot or planet card that you used. It just dupes that for you, so you get that back again. And when you
Wow.
use that with specifically, there's like the Emperor, which just gives you two tarot cards, or like using that with a money one, and you just get two money ones back to back, and just like, oh, now I just have like 40 gold all of a sudden, and I can just
Damn.
buy a
Right.
ton
Yeah.
more things from the shop. So I think really learn because the tarot card deck not that big. I mean, the planet one's not that big either, right? You can kind of like you're much quickly going to be able to remember what all the tarot cards are than to remember like what all the jokers are, right? Just because there's so much
Right.
more
Yeah.
there. And so like really getting a handle of those and using them well, or just selling them if it's like only going to be a marginal upgrade, it might just be worth it to sell that for $1 or two, because maybe that'll go a lot further for you. Because I don't know if you've noticed, this is one thing I feel like took me a while to understand is whenever you beat a level, based on however much money you have, you earn interest. So if you have a big bank, you'll make like a little bit of money. But if you have like
Hmm.
$1 or $0, you're not going to get any bonus there. And then there's other ways you can increase that interest amount and things like that, of course. But you also just like want to have a little bit of money in the bank, so you're like earning a little bit more at the end of every level too. So yeah, and other things like if you beat a level in less hands, you get a little bonus money there as well. So there's a lot of little things that you can do to like really I don't know, optimize your play around those little things too. And then obviously when you unlock more jokers, you're going to get into like all sorts of absolutely wild stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of little things about that game and things that I don't even really think about. Like I haven't really thought about interest in a while, but like it's a good thing to understand how it works, because it will, like if you're paying attention to it and optimizing for it, your run is just you're gonna have a lot more money overall, which means better jokers, higher planet cards, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I probably missed that part of the tutorial. I didn't even know about the interest thing. So
Yeah,
this
just
this has
look up
been
when you get your victory screen. Just stop for a second and like read the ways you made money. It'll be like, oh, I made
okay.
$3 from beating the level.
Right.
I made $2 because I had 2 extra hands. And then what's this interest thing? And you'll be like, oh, I forget exactly what the numbers are. But it's like, oh, I
Yeah.
had $10, so I got an additional $2 or whatever it is. So yeah, it's sometimes good to like save money in the bank. It might be, especially early on, just like the first couple rounds, you probably can't buy much anyway. So try and build that bank up a little bit is one thing you could try and do.
Yeah, I mean that's exciting. I feel like the tarot cards I definitely undervalued like entirely.
Yeah,
Just
they're super
because
strong.
maybe I would look at one and I'm like, well, I could get that, or I could up my hand, right, or something with like a celestial card. So I feel like I've just always prioritized that. And with the jokers, I feel like part of me is like, well, I'm just gonna go after the jokers. Like that's the best card. I'm gonna spend all my money on the jokers that I can, and then just keep recycling. Even if I have max amount of jokers, I'll just cycle like take out the worst one that I think is the worst one, throw them out there. So I mean, that's just a part of how enticing of a game it is, because you can just keep trying different strategies. And
Yeah.
I feel like that repetition, like it doesn't feel like when I fail a run, it's like, oh, so deflating. Like I got so close to the end. I just feel like, oh, nice. Now I get a fresh canvas. Like I'm excited to jump in there and see if I get a different Joker that kind of forces me to go in a different realm when it comes to like the hands and stuff. Because I feel like I wasn't even playing straights until I got a Joker that like gave me better straights. I'm like, what even is that again? Because I don't play poker. Then I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I could definitely cook up some things there. I feel like my favorite one that I got, I had like a multiplier on the straights, but then I also had a card that made it so I needed one less card on a straight.
Yeah.
So it made it
super
so
strong.
much easier to just like wait for a really good hand, essentially. And yeah, I that's where I felt like I was winning like every single round in one hand, and I'm like,
Hell yeah.
like cocky. I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna lose. Then I get to that one that one Joker that, like you said, it just made it so I don't get points or something off of. I don't think it was like I don't get points off straights, but it's like a certain suit, and I kind of got stuck with that same suit, where I just wouldn't get bonus cards with it. Maybe I just didn't get good discards. And there was another one. Oh, I can't. It must have been a joke. Maybe it was some card that allowed me to basically just have like more discards, and I felt like I got to a point where I was like stacking that maybe with a Joker, and I just had so many discards, so I could really just be picky and choosy. And I was getting really lucky with those reshuffles, and also just getting the opportunity to like add different cards to your deck. I at first when I saw that, I'm like, okay, whatever, like it's kind of stupid. I have my hand, like I have my 52 cards or whatever I have to start the game. But like just again, like if I get maybe one of the cards I had where if I play like a 10 or a 4, you add 10 and then times it by 4. So I just had so many 10s, but then I also was stacking them with the suit multiplier through a certain Joker, and
I love
that's
10-4.
where it's just
10-4 is a great.
yeah.
Joker.
So I felt like I'm understanding the gambling addiction, because when I just see those numbers going up, I'm like, holy fuck, this is exciting.
Yeah, I mean it's such a breakthrough roguelike because it's like. It's just a score tracer. It's so arcadey in that way. I can't think of another roguelike where you're not like battling anything.
Right.
It's literally just a number that's going up, and then there's like, I guess there's the boss blind, and that's what you're battling. But it's it's like, one, it's a lot easier for developers because now you don't have to like have enemy AI or programming in that way. It's literally just a number. So I think that's why there's been so many Balatro likes. There's so many games that have copied it, and like even after I finished Potion Problem, one of the things I tried was like a little card game kind of thing where it was that same idea where it's like, okay, rather than me having to figure out how to program to make smart enemy AI, I'm just gonna have like a number that you have to defeat. Like it's a brilliant thing for game developers too. I'll give you a couple other tips. The tarot cards, once again, once you like, let's say you buy a tarot card, and sometimes you're opening a pack and you have to use it right then and there, but sometimes you can just buy a tarot and it will go up into your inventory, right? I think sometimes it's a good idea to just literally keep that thing up there for a while. You don't spend it right away, don't sell it right away. Like maybe you just want to hold on to it because maybe at some point you will like be $1 off from a great Joker in the bank. And so if you have that tarot up there, maybe it's even a good tarot and you do want to use it, but it's like, hell, maybe it's just worth it to sell it for $1, and then I can like buy this new Joker. So that could be a good thing. And then I think it's also good to keep in mind that you can use that like whenever. So let's say you have a what's it called? Like a tarot card up there, the one that like changes 2 cards into spades or something, right? Let's say you have that up there, and then let's say you buy a pack and you open a pack, and you know how when you do that, it like presents you like 7 or 8 cards, and then like it gives you the Joker, and you can choose how, or not the Joker, the tarot. You can choose what you want to upgrade. You can use that one that you have in reserve at that point in time. Like you can select cards and upgrade them at that point in time. Like I feel like the game's very freeform in that way. Like you don't have to use things at specific moments. You can just kind of keep them in the bank, or you can get pretty creative with some of the things in that way. So that's one tip. And then the other one that I did not know this for like hours and hours into the game, so maybe you know this, maybe you don't, but you can just rearrange the order of your Jokers. I don't know if you've been doing that. Yeah, it took me a while to realize I can do that, but obviously that's a huge unlock because, you know, you can because obviously it reads from left to right in terms of how it's going to pop the multipliers, right? So, okay, well, you already know that one, but that for me, that took a while to figure out that was a thing in the game.
I mean, I didn't know like some of the basic ones. I feel like even just knowing about interest, so it's kind of funny the things that you pick up on or miss. But no, that's good to know about the tarot card usage, because I had no idea you could use it at any time, and knowing that you can use it, like you said, like in the shop when you open up a pack, that's useful.
But also good to keep in mind if you're gonna get a card for any reason, like you only have an inventory of 2, so you want to make sure that you're using things so that you know are getting new things rolled into the rotation too, because you don't want to get caught when you could have got like some additional bonus. But yeah, other than that, I don't know. I think I think like those are the only things I would shout out is like I didn't realize that those were just things in the game, but they're not like huge unlocks or anything. It's just like, oh, I didn't realize that thing originally. I think the game is very simple. You know, from the get go, it's really just a matter of really mastering it and then getting addicted. And I think compared to other roguelikes, it also rolls into a bit of a criticism I have of the game is I feel like a lot more than other roguelikes, it's a reset-y roguelike. Like I'll be a round or 2 in and it's like, this run's okay, but I'm just going to reset. It's not worth my time to continue this run, or like my money's really bad or whatever it is. So like I just feel like a lot of the times I'll be resetting really quickly, or maybe like, you know, specifically when I'm in like the higher chip level, like the higher difficulty level stuff, like sometimes I might just, and this is probably wrong, but it feels this way, is it might just be like impossible for me to get past the second round just because I got complete trash or complete bad luck. And so you just got to reset a lot, which, you know, it's fine. It's not the worst thing ever. But I think I generally prefer when a roguelike feels like, oh, no matter what, I can get through this with skill. But since Balatro is inherently a poker thing and inherently very lucky as well, sometimes you'll just get unlucky, and that can happen quite a bit. But, you know, for me, that was not really an issue until I was like 50, 60 hours into the game. And then it was like, okay, I'm at higher levels now. I need to be even more perfect. And that's when it can be a little bit annoying, a little bit more annoying to have the bad luck of it all. So, yeah, that's a game that like I would love to get 100% completion at some point, but man, the requirement to get 100% completion is absolutely ridiculous in that game, and it would require so much luck. So I'll always have 1 or 2 achievements missing, I think, on Steam for Balatro. But yeah, it's a game that I'd still come back to every couple months and do a couple runs, and then I'm like sucked in for a week. I'm like, I gotta stop playing this, or else I won't do anything else. So I'm glad that you finally played it, because it's amazing. I guess I want to hear when you're like deeper in, if you would like revise your game of the year from last year, and if that would become your game of the year. For me, it was number 2, right after UFO 50. But yeah, I'm curious once, because right now I'm sure it's, you know, not beating out Stellar Blade, or off the top of my head I can't remember what your other top games were. But yeah, I think I'm curious to see where Balatro, you know, ranks out at it all when it's all said and done.
I mean, I'm definitely gonna report back. I love that it's the type of game that I don't feel like I'm not deep in it, but I don't think it's because I'm stuck. It's just like I haven't just put in the time. Like it's just.
Well, there's so many Jokers you don't even have unlocked yet, right? Like that changes it too, and sometimes it makes it even harder, because it's like, well, now I have more things in the random pool that could show up. Than, like the things that do exist, but obviously then it gets more fun because you have all these crazy little concoctions you can put together now.
Yeah, and I was like surprised on how I was even getting some of them, because like at one point I was playing a game and then I'm like, I just don't have time to finish this run. Save the game, come back. I like got a Joker for doing that. I'm like, oh, okay. You just get Jokers for just things in this game. Yeah. And then one was like, you know, finish your first run, or like get defeated in your first run. You just get a Joker for it. Again, they're probably very intro Joker cards, but still, I was surprised just getting them in that regard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the collection of it, like the unlocking of everything was super fun. And I think you can like go on the menu at the main screen, and, like
Yeah, there's a
see the unlock
collection
requirements
tab.
and stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was really really fun. There's still one one card technically don't have unlocked because it's just so rare that I just haven't seen it yet. I think I did see it, but it was in like a one of the seeded runs. You know, there's like I don't know if you saw on the menu. There's like challenge
Yeah.
runs, and I unlocked a thing in there, but it doesn't count for the main game if you've unlocked it in that mode. Unfortunately, that's like the last thing I have to get for like all the unlocks. Are you? Oh, by the way, are you did you change the deck style? Because you know how like for each suit you can change with like to the different games because there's all these crossovers in there now.
Oh, I did not know that.
Oh, you go in the menu. You can change like you can put like Witcher themed cards or Binding of
Oh,
Isaac
that's so
themed cards or
cool.
Stardew Valley. Or I'm trying to think. There might be Cult of the Lamb in there. I might be making that up. I'm trying to think what the most Kirkland franchise is that's in there. But yeah, I think there's Castlevania. Um, there's a couple other ones in
The
there.
Gwent
But,
one
yeah.
has me excited. I definitely. I guess
Yeah,
it's not
it's
necessarily
only
Gwent.
just to preface the hype. It's only the face cards, so it's not like the
Okay,
entire deck is some new thing. Yeah, but that's good stuff.
that's okay, I guess.
Yeah, and then there's another game you've been playing, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of forgot about one of them. Well, I'll quickly fire off the one
Oh,
I
go
mentioned
ahead.
you about, which is Doom 2016. I just got so excited by the
Great
release
game.
of Doom Dark Ages and knowing that I wasn't getting it, and I just felt left out because I met Travis in the real world and he was telling me about it, and I'm like, God, those Doom games and it's id, right?
Id.
id Software. Like, just man, how they're able to like revitalize that franchise. Doom, like the old Doom, one of the earliest games I ever played, like on floppy
Nice.
disk. I have like core memories to that. And playing Doom 2016, I think I like touched it before a little bit. I am playing it on the PlayStation, and I did have some issues with the overall feel. Like I thought I felt really rigid and clunky with the aiming. I spent a lot of time tweaking the sensitivity and stuff, and I found what was the big difference in the setting, and maybe listeners out there, maybe this can help them, is the smoothness. Like, it's not necessarily the vertical sensitivity, but the smoothness bar. It was at like 92 or something. I brought that right down, and it feels like I'm playing like COD or something now. Like, I just feel so much smoother, especially in that game. Like, there's so many like snappy movements that you want to be doing with your guns and stuff, and it's made it feel good. And it's the type of game that you want to feel good while you're doing it, because it is really really fun to play. It's smooth. I imagine it just gets even better like as the games go along. I listened to a little bit of your guys' review just to hear kind of like some of your thoughts there. I heard you jump back into Doom Eternal, which so Doom 1 and Doom Eternal are both like free on the PlayStation. Well, if you subscribe to the PlayStation catalog right now. So I told myself, I'm like, oh, Doom Dark Age is such a great way to jump in. I already have access to Doom and Doom Eternal, so I think I'm going to start with those two firsthand. And yeah, it's awesome. I mean, it's an older game, so like many people already know this. It's almost a decade old now, but it's so fantastic. It plays so well, and they do a really good job actually at like, I think, giving nods to the original, like just collecting like blue cards or your like blue key. That was just so like iconic. I feel like when I played that original Doom, where you're just looking for this like very odd, like it stands out when you're like going through like the pixely type world, and you just see this like blue key, and guess what it opens? A blue door, and it's just like it's so easy to see. And
I love that they're not like, let's make this super immersive. Like, let's make this super video gamey and just like stab deep into that video gaminess. I love that. It's great.
Totally. So I'm having lots of fun with it. I'm only a couple hours in. Like, I think I'm on mission 3 or something, but it's just a fun shooter to pick up. Like, especially it probably take like definitely maybe 20-30 minutes for like a level. I feel like it's been taking me. I imagine they kind of take longer as you go along, but very simple. I was kind of itching for a shooter, and this definitely scratched that itch. So Doom 2016, and having lots of fun with it. Definitely recommend.
Love it.
Yeah, and then the other one that another Misty drop here, which is kind of on theme because we just finished off The Last of Us finale last night. I've been cooking up part 1 of The Last of Us. It was downloaded on my PlayStation for so long. I feel like you and I were talking about that for a while, a while ago, before Last of Us Season 2 came out, and I'm pretty sure like over halfway the first time that I tried that game on the PS4. And whatever reason, I just stopped. Like, it wasn't anything in particular on what I wasn't enjoying. I just stopped for whatever reason. I jumped back in here, started from the beginning, of course, and really like it's phenomenal, and especially what they're able to do with the remaster. Like it looks so good. Like it really looks like a PS5 game. I can only imagine how much better like the second game looks on the modern consoles, because it does look really good, especially for one. Like this is a PS3 game, isn't it? The first Last of Us originally.
Yeah, I guess yeah.
I know it's a
PS3,
remaster and
then
everything, but still, like the
it got the
core
remaster,
bones.
and then it got like the part 1 remake. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny. It's not that old, but it's had like two full, or one kind of half remake and then like a full remake, I guess.
Yeah, and like this, it looks so beautiful, but I feel like the core mechanics, I'm like, okay, I can tell this is a PS3 game just with some of the puzzles, and like,
Yeah.
I never really thought that on my first playthrough. Maybe I was just like that was an older time when I first played it. Maybe that's a reason, but I really love it. But I find myself when I get into an area where it's like, okay, now I have to sneak around all of these enemies or crawlers, or I'm forced into combat with these units. I kind of just dread it, and like not in the sense of like it's a horror game and I'm like terrified. It's like, oh, for fuck's sakes. Okay, let's
Yeah.
hopefully I don't miss a headshot here.
Right. I know you like playing games on hard difficulties, but would this not be a game that you just go on story mode or easy mode and just?
I think I
crush through
should do that because
Yeah.
I'm on like normal right now. Like I'm like you said, like I am normally geared that way. I do want to kind of challenge myself, but I'm like whatever. I just want to do normal to play through it. It's still pretty fucking challenging, and maybe I'm just really bad,
That's surprising,
or
actually,
I
yeah.
get put into situations where a big part of it too is I like because I enter those zones and I know what I have to do, and I'm just like I just don't want to do this right. I just want to get going with this story, which is probably a bad way to play the game, but I think that very much gears to the reason on why I should just lower the difficulty, just
Right.
to experience the story, because that's really why I'm in it. Like it is fun adventuring through the world and playing as Joel, like actually moving the joystick and moving me through this world. Like I am enjoying playing the game that way. That's why I wouldn't just like watch the YouTube, like the video game movie of The Last of Us Part 1. I do enjoy playing it and just experiencing it for myself, because when you do get put in those stressful situations, the sweaty palms, like it is a fun feeling. Just the specific like gameplay when you get into the combat and stuff, I'm not the biggest fan of, and curious how much that kind of changes, because I do want to eventually play part 2. I'm not putting I'm not trying to rush through this by any means. I
Yeah.
just like Last of Us. Yeah, I'm hyped on it.
I
Let's
mean, I'm
jump
with you,
into
man.
part 1.
After season 2's ending, like I don't
Yeah.
want to wait to find out what happens now. So
Knowing how long it takes between seasons as well, it's like fuck,
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna get to
Yeah.
that second game before we
Now,
even get.
and
word
part
of
2
it.
is not on the catalog at this juncture, right?
No,
Okay.
it's not. Yeah,
It's got to go on there. Like,
eventually, right?
because that game's like came out 2020, right? It's like 4 years old now, 5 years old now.
Yeah, I think
crazy.
eventually. I think eventually. I think if I have this just thing in my head where I'm like, any PlayStation exclusive game that comes out will eventually be on there. That's just kind of like my my thing. I'm telling myself.
Yeah. I think so.
I told myself I would eventually get to Horizon Zero Dawn if it gets added to the catalog. Fuck, both those games are on the catalog. I don't think if they're both on it now.
Really?
But the first one I definitely have access to on there, so I should jump on there at some
I would
point
be
as well.
surprised if the second one is on there. That's
Well, maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe
Okay.
it has only been the first one, but I
'cause
just
that
remember
game's even
seeing the
newer
second one.
than
Yeah,
T-Lu
yeah.
Part 2. I don't know.
Maybe I'm misremembering it, but definitely the first game you have access to on the catalog. And well, that being said, I'm sure it's only a matter of time before that second one eventually gets on there. I feel like it just they do a good job at eventually rotating those games on there, because there's even some monthly games, like even monthly games where like even if you don't subscribe to the subscription service, well, I guess you kind of do to just like the
To
the
be able
very
to redeem
base.
them, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I've been kind of surprised with some of the titles that get thrown on there. Like that's where I got access
It's
to.
pretty damn good, yeah. Balatro.
Yeah, Balatro, of course. But what's the other PlayStation one with zombies? You play the biker with the
Oh,
creepers.
Days Gone.
Yeah, Days Gone. Like that was one. I mean, it's not as big of a game as Last of Us, but like still, like just a lot of those PlayStation games do eventually get added on there. So, yeah, Last of Us though, I'm pretty hyped on it, and
Nice.
great game. And I feel like me playing the game, what it's done more than anything on like the initial first reaction is appreciate the cadence, like very specifically the cadence of Pedro and Bella Ramsey were able to like carry to the character. Like they sound like the voice actors to me, not maybe not like 100%, like maybe if I sat down could like did a side by side comparison, I wouldn't think that. But just like the way that like the Texas Joel talks, like kind of like reluctant, or like just when Ellie gets like really like angry and whiny. And of course, season 1, like or the first game, she's 14, so she's much younger than she's supposed to be in season 2. But like I still just hear Bella and Pedro, so I'm like, man, they did a really good job at portraying like at least the voices of the characters. I'm curious if I'm gonna keep feeling that way, because the characters do go through major progressions that we've seen, through the show. But I imagine it's even like more drawn out through the games because you just have more time with the characters. So that's been something I've really appreciated, at least. Just good job to those actors. They really brought their voice game to the show.
Yeah, that's great. I think it is installed on my PS5 right now. I actually haven't booted up the PS5 recently, and I'm not subscribed to PS Plus right now, but I'll be back on there when Death Stranding's coming out. I don't know when I'll probably resubscribe when there's just a monthly game that I can't resist. But yeah, it's I think I'll definitely join you on that Last of Us journey. Finally, I feel like I feel obligated as a gamer.
Yeah. Maybe let me know
beaten that game.
Yeah, like again, no rush. I'm like really slowly making my way through it, but maybe we'll just check in where we are.
Sure.
And then maybe if we end up ending at the same time, it'd be fun to kind of talk about it and compare notes that way.
Definitely. And then the DLC's like rolled into that too. Is it integrated
it's
in like in the main way, or is it still like a side mission that you can select from the menu or something?
I just see it on the menu, so it seems like it's something I can kind of play at any time. I like it's with Ellie and another girl that I haven't seen yet, so I'm like, I'm just gonna keep playing the main game. It seems like that's the way to experience it.
Yeah, because I forget in the show when that episode was like somewhere in the middle of season 1, I think, right?
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, I forget exactly when but they like pieced it kind of interstitial in the story there. But there you go. There's Last of Us. How about we take one more break, and then we have just one more game / topic. We'll be right back. Okay, we are back. I have one kind of game to shout out here a little bit, but also just a bit of a random sort of topic that has been bouncing around my mind. Kirkland, I realized this last week, and I feel like I should be embarrassed about this, which is why I left it specifically for the last topic. Because I don't want everyone to know this about me. I just want the dedicated fans to hear this part. But I realized that how little I knew about the Grand Theft Auto franchise. So let me explain. So obviously I've played hundreds of hours of 4 and 5. Played a little bit of San Andreas, a little bit of Vice City in my day. But I'm not gonna lie to you. Until last week, I legitimately thought San Andreas was Grand Theft Auto 3. I thought they were the same game.
Oh, wow.
I'm realizing and then I was doing some research and stuff. I feel like I've never heard anyone in my life talk about Grand Theft Auto 3 as a game.
Man, that's crazy.
What do you tell me about Grand Theft Auto 3 from your perspective?
Grand Theft Auto 3 was a great game, and it wasn't my first Grand Theft Auto game, but it was I feel like it was the first, maybe like the first PS2 game. I think it was on PS2, maybe PS1. I can't remember. I remember playing at my cousin's house and just being like, what is this game? And they told me it was Grand Theft Auto, and I'm like, no, I've played Grand Theft Auto. This is not Grand Theft Auto, because I played the top-down bird's eye view.
You're crazy. Wow,
GTA games at my uncle's house, and like even Grand Theft Auto, like the one in London, where I don't know if that was like the first or second game, but it was specifically like a London Grand Theft Auto game, which is cool. Right. They went across the pond at some point. It was top-down, but still. And yeah, I played.
Yeah, it
that
looks like
game.
there was. I have the Wikipedia here. Grand Theft Auto came out in 1997, and then there was Grand Theft Auto London 1969.
Let's go.
Same year, Grand Theft Auto London 1961. Same year, Grand Theft Auto 2. So they released 3 separate games in 1 year, which is funny. We look at like how long the break is between like the next Elder Scrolls and Skyrim, GTA 6, GTA 5. But yeah, back in the day, it's like Grand Theft Auto and Grand Theft Auto 4 all came out within like a 8-year period or something crazy like that. Just like 8 or 9, like more games than years somehow, which is like insane that they were able to have that output. But obviously, just like the workflows for game development was much quicker back then. But yeah, so that was like I don't even know. I don't know anything about Grand Theft Auto London. So those are the top down ones as well, I guess,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, top
Yeah.
down. You had like the classic Union Jack, like Mini Coopers. I remember I'd always
Nice.
prioritize stealing those cars. Yeah, very janky. I like probably never got very far. You would do quests through phone booths, and it was very much like, okay, here's your target, go kill this target. Like like that was the game. So it's just crazy how much the game's like changed to where we are now. 2026 is going to be the
Yeah.
release for the next one. But yeah, Grand Theft Auto 3. I think that was the first time I like that started. That was probably like my first experience of like cheats in video games, because like
Oh,
that's the one
okay.
where you do like the combo. Actually, now that I'm saying that, the first cheats I did with Age of Empires 1, big time. That on the PC, I was cheating
Mm.
up with Age of Empires, big time.
Yeah, PC
Um,
games. Yeah,
yeah,
that was
PC games,
crazy.
but
Those are
like for
crazy
console, I
days.
guess with like L1 R1 up down BB, like it's just crazy how much that's like that's probably not gonna be a thing going forward, hey, for like younger generations of video gamers, just doing those like button sequences to get cheats.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not a thing anymore, and
No,
I've thought about that a lot. I feel like a lot of the things that would be are like microtransactions. So that's like my super cynical, like capitalist
right.
take on why those don't exist anymore. But like GTA 5 had them, but like, do you think GTA 6 is gonna have just like input cheat codes like that? Because I feel like a lot of open world games don't have that anymore, which is
I
weird. Like, let me just do some crazy wacky shit here, and like, yeah, disable achievements if you want. Like, if you really
yeah,
want to ruin my fun, but like, yeah, it is weird how much that has died out in the modern age.
I could see GTA if it's not like a gameplay, like at least make it like a comment about it. Like it seems like a very meta thing for GTA to like do something around
Right.
that, because it like they are just so it's so attached to that, like unlimited ammo,
Yeah.
like stuff like that. I've seen like basketball players with tattoos that have that. It's like the unlimited ammo cheat, because
Nice.
they're saying that they shoot baskets and stuff, or whatever the terminology is. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, this was the first game of like going to the family PC, finding like I feel like it was like, oh, I can't even remember the URL. I thought I had it. I remember one of the URLs I used. It was like it transitioned into Games Radar, which I think is still a thing, if I'm not mistaken. But like
I think
before it was
so.
Games
Yeah.
Radar, it was like cheats.com or something like that.
Nice.
Like that would be the location to go get your GTA cheats, and like transposing them onto a piece of paper with my little cousin, and then bring that over to the family TV. It's
Yeah.
so funny
So
how
many
much
of my
work
game
it was.
cases had the cheat
Yeah,
codes written in there on a piece of
I
paper.
my Tony Hawk Underground, it still has that
Yeah.
piece of paper that I transposed way back in the day, so it's a
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
piece of history there. But GTA 3, the first one that I like even memorized them. It's like, hey, this is my weapon combo, and then just going on like
Hmm.
rampages with my cousin. Like I
Yeah.
do remember it like of like I have more memories with San Andreas. I actually went to like the release for that at the Kelowna Mall, which
Oh,
is crazy
nice.
to think about how old that game is now. But
Yeah.
yeah, me, my cousin, and my uncle, we went and picked that up. I remember we were like playing GTA 3 before that. Like we got so hyped for it.
So San Andreas, you went to the opening night thing and got it?
It was an opening night. It
Oh, okay.
was
Okay.
like we just went to the mall and pick it up, and like
Okay.
I just
So
remember
I'm gonna
it
say you were
being.
like 7 when that game
Yeah,
came out, I think. So it's like that would be
my uncle
crazy.
didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, I know, but like, man, it's like that's a little bit wild.
No, for sure, especially like what the game is. I mean, a lot of like the bad stuff I feel like went over my head, at least from what I remember. But like still going on rampages and just shooting people, like it's
Yeah.
pretty fucked up to be exposed to that. Maybe I'll dive into that with my therapist at
That's
some
why you're so
point. Who
violent
knows?
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But no, good memories. Because it went GTA 3, then Vice City, and then San Andreas, right?
You got it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't
Which,
think my
yeah,
cousin
GTA
had
3,
Vice City.
2001, Vice City, 2002, San Andreas, 2004. So pretty crazy that
Yeah,
they were able to achieve that. I'm guessing all three of those games had like the exact same engine. So it was just like, generating we don't have to like do the code all over again in that way, for
yeah,
shooting and stuff. I'm guessing those games feel very similar, but it's just like new city, new features kind of stuff, new character, new story.
yeah.
Yeah.
The more we're talking about it, I feel like I might be interweaving Vice City and 3. So I might be misremembering some things here, because
Okay.
GTA 3 had very minimum mechanics as well. Like the jump was awful.
Right. This is the
Like
first open world one, so I'm guessing
yeah.
that they really iterated pretty hard between those three, kind of that trilogy, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And like the quests were not very fun. Like again, like I don't really remember doing a lot of the story stuff, but it was just it was kind of what the first game was with, and like the assassinations, probably some cutscenes in there, very bland characters, I'm sure. But Vice City, yeah, because Vice City actually incorporated a lot more mechanics than they did. Like there was no swimming or anything, but still, just like the ability. I'm crossing over my mechanic jumps though, because in San Andreas, I remember specifically that was the one that introduced you could jump over fences, and it was like just a big deal to be able to
It's a
run away
game
from
changer
cops
for
and
GTA,
and jump over fences. So yeah, I'm probably blending the Vice City and GTA 3 memories together, because I mean that just goes to show how old GTA 3 was. I remember the character, I remember the setting, but not like any characters or anything. I remember the cutscenes being very cheesy and corny, but
Yeah,
it's crazy. It was a blind spot for you up until now, though.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like as I mentioned, because we've talked a lot about GTA in the last like 2 episodes because the trailer. I've talked about with both Taylor and Travis and just different GTA things. And I think like just growing up, I played some Vice City, played some San Andreas, but like 3 was just never. These were not games I owned until I was like old enough, and by old enough I mean like middle school, where like I could buy GTA 4, or like my mom bought me GTA 4 or whatever, and then I could like own those games. And so that was definitely a like blind spot for me, especially as like a Nintendo kid. Like you weren't playing GTA 3 on a GameCube, right? I didn't have a PS2, so I was like wasn't bumping into that game on my own. But yeah, I just feel like I've just never bumped into anyone who's really talked about GTA 3. And then probably when they have, I assume they were just talking about San Andreas. So whatever they were saying, I was just like, oh, GTA 3, like the game before GTA 4, aka San Andreas. But like obviously they are a different game there. So yeah, I don't know how I've just like gone my whole life not realizing that, but I think it's kind of fun to be like, wow, there's just like a bonus GTA game that I knew nothing about. And then because of that, I just assumed Vice City was GTA 2. Like that's always how my brain has worked this stuff out. And so obviously I was so off there. But I've been looking a lot into GTA in the last couple weeks, and really I was talking to Taylor and Kirk and not you. I haven't talked to you about it.
You are now.
Taylor and Travis, of like, man, I really want to do some type of retro on like some Rockstar games, talk about some old GTA things
Ping
before
pong.
6. yeah, ping pong, of course, or table tennis, I think it is.
Yeah, table tennis. Yeah.
So yeah, I and it sounds like based on how much, because it seems like you have a lot more nostalgia for some of those earlier games. Like I don't know if we'd go back to 1 and 2, but I think even just like a few hours into each of these games would be a really fun, like few podcast episodes. So it sounds like you would be down for that. And I realized this because, back years ago, it was like they announced GTA Plus, which is like the GTA membership monthly thing, and I always just assumed that was for GTA 5 to just get like you monthly shark cards or whatever the fuck, and you could do stuff there. But like it also just has the GTA trilogy, which is like the remaster versions of 3, Vice City, San Andreas. It has Bully, I think it has table tennis, it has some other games. I was looking through the catalog and there's like 10 15 games or something that are just like on that as well with that subscription. So like $10 and you can just like access all these games on like PS5, Xbox Series X, whatever it is.
Awesome.
So I'm probably gonna like at some point in the next before GTA 6 essentially like get a month or two of that at different times and just like blast through a bunch of these games and try them out. So I'll coordinate with you on that, because I would love to get your perspective on like specifically GTA 3, as like for me learning that it exists like days ago, and then you who actually played it back in the day. I think that'd be really fun to revisit. Not that we do the whole playthrough of the story mode or anything, but just spend like 5 or 6 hours in there and just kind of look back on it and like discover the things like, oh yeah, you can't jump over a fence. That's crazy. But it's like, yeah, that's just all those things had to come with iteration over the years. So yeah, I'm kind of excited to jump back in some of these old games, even though I'm expecting that they're going to be old and janky and not good, but I'm sure they're still fun to just like cruise. Any game that's like an open world in a city where you can just do whatever you want, like it's just going to be a good time.
I feel like that was just such a crazy idea too at like that stage of my gaming career. Like I just didn't understand that you could have like an open world game like that, and just the violent stuff you were doing. It was
mine was Simpsons Hit and Run. That was what I was doing at that.
I had that game also. That game was awesome. Yeah.
Also had great cheats and things in there too.
Yeah. I don't remember the cheats at all actually.
I have a distinct memory of, because I think I got the game for like my birthday one year. So me and all my friends at my birthday were playing it, and we put in a cheat code that when you honk your horn, your car just like flies 300 feet in the air. But if you don't do that in conjunction with the cheat that gives you like infinite health, you just explode and die when you hit the ground again. And so I have a distinct memory of discovering that. But yeah, there were quite a few cheats in that game too, and like a lot of hidden Easter eggs and like hidden cars if you did like specific things. I remember too. So yeah, a lot of cool stuff like that.
It's funny as we were talking about GTA. I got reminded of a vague memory. The first time I was playing GTA, and especially just making the comment of like how young I actually was, like when these games came out. And
Yeah.
I just got hit with like a very vivid memory that I remember the first time I like picked up that controller to play GTA. My uncle turned to me and said, "Don't tell your mom I let you play this."
Yeah.
So yes, that there was a reason that like I guess the adults knew how inappropriate that game would have been for someone of my age. But
I
shouts
I
out to
have
you, uncle.
Yeah, shouts to the uncle. I have a similar thing where I was at like a friend's house and their older brothers were playing San Andreas, and that was like
Oh,
I'd always
nice,
heard
yeah.
of Grand Theft Auto. That was the first time I like saw it. And I was like, oh my god, you can just like drive into people. What the fuck is this? Probably wasn't saying that. I wasn't old enough to swear yet.
What the fuck is this?
But yeah, I remember that being a thing of like I'm not telling my mom about this. They don't
Yeah.
even know about this. So yeah, I love that. That's just part of everyone's, or at least
Yeah.
everyone who's around our age, probably history with GTA. So yeah, I just charting out the rest of it. So the same year as San Andreas, Grand Theft Auto Advance was released, which I think is another top-down one, almost like probably a remake of. I think it's just the original GTA, but just like on a Game Boy Advance essentially. And there was GTA Liberty City Stories and Vice City Stories. So I think those are just the two PSP re-releases of those two games, right?
I thought they were like DLCs, but maybe I'm thinking of like Ballad of Gay Tony and
Oh, okay.
the
Maybe
other ones that
I
were
could
for
be
PS
wrong
or
here. Let me
GTA
click on
4. Sorry.
Um,
But now that you said
19.
PSP, I do have vague
Yeah, these are
memories
the
of seeing
these
that.
are the PSP ports
Okay.
of those two games, I guess. And yeah, I remember playing those a little bit. But I don't see San Andreas here. But that also had a PSP version, right? Maybe did that one release day and date with the PSP?
I didn't think it had a PSP one.
Maybe it never did. Maybe just
Hmm.
GTA 3, because Liberty City Stories would be GTA 3, right? And then Vice City Stories
Yep.
would obviously be Vice City. But that's weird that San Andreas didn't get that. Maybe the tech was much more advanced and couldn't run on a PSP. But I assumed it would have been a lot closer in terms of
Yeah.
power as like Vice City and 3. But maybe that 2-year gap between development just like evolved it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's a mobile game now. You can get it on the iOS store, which is kind of funny. You went full circle there.
Because yeah, I guess these were all PS2 games. Even GTA 3 was a PS2 game. So I'm kind of surprised they didn't get that on PSP, but interesting nonetheless. And then after that, you get GTA 4. So that's the kind of the weird thing that surprised me a bit is like GTA 3 is Liberty City, right? Is it only Liberty City, or is there any other locales as well from your memory?
I only remember being in like the city. You
Yeah.
get to those bridge areas. They're like, you can't go past here. The classic.
So it's kind of weird, like that number entries wise, like 3 and 4 are both New York.
I never
both-
thought
both
about that
Liberty
until
City.
now.
Yeah. So obviously there's two like mainline games between there that just have different subtitles, but kind of weird to see that. And that just like reestablishes that cycle of like after GTA 6, and, of course that's like another 28 years away from today, but shows to our 28 years later retro, go check that out. But like we're just going to go back to New York, right? Like we're never going to get a new city in the mix.
Yeah.
Like we only ever
London.
have the
Let's
amount
go
of
to
time
London.
to do these three. That would be a fun callback, but I
Yeah.
don't think they'd do it, but I would love to see
Yeah.
it.
I would
So
be
obviously,
driving on the wrong
GT
side of the road. I wouldn't know how to do it.
That's a great point. That would mess with a lot of people.
Yeah.
GTA 4 comes out in 2008. And then you obviously get the 2 DLCs, and then Chinatown Wars was the DS game, right? Which I assume that's also that
that's
is
right.
kind of top downy. It is more 3D, but it is like that top down style. I don't know if you could get out of your car in this game, or if it was just driving. But I should try and find that game and play that. That'd be fun. And then obviously jump a few years. Now we're at GTA 5 in 2013, and then
2013. That's so
and then yeah, I
crazy.
guess in 2021 they released the trilogy, the definitive edition, which I guess is like a remastered version of 3 Vice City San Andreas, and then we got the remake thing last year, which was I can't remember which games were in that, but that was like the really janky thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
With the 3 games, and then yeah, GTA 6 next year. So that's kind of charting over the whole series there. But yeah, but there's a couple of like hidden gems in the mix there that I feel like I hadn't heard of before. So it's kind of fun to think back on that and excited to jump back through some of those games. And yeah, like Bully's always been one I want to play too. And obviously I need to spend more time in Red Dead. Both of the games. I've never played 2, but even Red Dead 1. So yeah, a lot of GTA stuff to check out. But in that vein of thought, because I wanted a game like that. And I was like, okay, I have GTA 4 or 5, but like I kind of want to do something new. And so what I did is I was cruising on Game Pass and saw that they had Mafia Definitive Edition on there. So I downloaded
Nice.
Mafia, which is obviously I guess it's a remaster. No, that was a full-on remake of the first game that came out a few years ago. And the first game, the original game came out like 2002 or something like that as well. Remind me your which ones in the series you've played?
Mafia 2 was my first
Okay.
experience with that game, and I played it all the way through. I know the whole story of that one as much as I can remember for how long
Yeah.
ago it was, and then I dabbled in Mafia 3 a little bit.
Okay.
But yeah, mostly Mafia 2.
Right. Yeah, I thought this would be timely to jump into just because the new one, which
Old
is called the
Country.
Old Country. Yes, that's coming out later this year in a couple months actually. So I thought, it's finally a good time. I've never played this series before because it is very GTA like. You're in a city, you can cruise around. Obviously, the setting's a bit different, a little more old timey in that way. But yeah, this one it's funny too. When I was playing this game, doing a few missions, I'm like, how do I like not do missions and just roam around and mess around? But it's like a different option on the menu. It's like you can either do free play or you can do like story mode, which is like always forces kind of. I guess you could still cruise around, but then there's always like the things on the map telling you where to go and what to do exactly. So I did like a few missions, and then I just went into the free roam mode and cruised around for a while, drove around, trying to mess with some people. It's a weird thing because like this game came out in 2020, this remake, but it's like really janky. It's really, it feels much older than 2020 in terms of the level of it, the jankiness of the CPUs, the movement feels really janky. I can't tell if it's like 30 frames. It's like upres to look a little bit more like 60 frames, but there's a lot of weird stuff that just like doesn't render properly. There's a lot of weird effects in this game, so it's kind of feels like a bit of a shoddy remake in my opinion. I don't know if this is a thing where they built the game from the ground up or they're like using that old engine but like trying to make it look better in the kind of the way Oblivion remaster did, but like doing it in a worse way. So it's unfortunately not like the best game like quality wise in that way, and I'm sure the original game, if this version's janky, I'm sure that original one is kind of janky too, but I'm sure it has a bit more of that like PS2 janky charm to it. But yeah, I don't know, I guess it's funny. It's like going back and we're using like old timey vehicles, which are slow and like don't control very well, and there's not a lot
The
of like
vehicle
variety.
mechanics were horrible. I remember from Mafia
Okay.
2. I was so annoyed by just how slow and like the turns. It's like
Yeah.
holy fuck, the brakes
And they all
are
feel
awful.
like pretty much the same. There's like different. There's like a little
Yeah.
more pickup truck version. There's a little more car version. There's one that has like a propane tank on the back, but they all kind of feel like the exact same. So yeah, that's like probably my favorite part about like a GTA game. If I had to like distill it down to one thing, is just like driving around being a maniac, flying off stuff and like physics and smashing through telephone poles. And in this game, like half the things you drive into, even if it's like a wooden fence that looks like it's about to fall apart on its own, even when you smash into it at a, I don't know what going fast in old timey cars, 60 kilometers an hour, like it still like doesn't break, and you just like take a bunch of damage. Your screen goes all red for a few seconds. So kind of a janky experience. But I don't know. Like it sounds like the story, even if you can't remember all the details, is what you remember most about Mafia 2.
Yeah.
Would that be accurate? It's like it had just such a
100%.
really great Mafia mobster storyline.
Yeah, I felt like I was playing Scarface and just like through the character, and I'm playing the character. And Mafia 2, it has a little bit better free roaming. Like you don't select the free roam area, at least if I remember that correctly. Like I remember an open area. I remember a lot of remembers. I recall knowing where the various like speedy vehicles were in the map that my cousin and I would go and find, and like they're not that good. So it just got to the point where I'm like, I just want a linear story this, because that's where I get the most enjoyment out of. Like if I want to go play a free roaming sandbox, I'll go play GTA because it's just far superior in all categories. And like that's even before GTA 5 came out, I think, is when I would have been playing this. But I thought the character was really good. It's just a good story, like good betrayal, and then the mechanics were fun, and it is very comparable to the GTAs of the world. But yeah, I think like just being a mobster and like like cracking down, like running from the cops, just doing all these things with your Tommy gun, the hand-to-hand combat I remember being really fun. And it just it was a really solid linear story game for a third-person adventure, but like for a sandbox, not the type of game. And I think if you know that going into it, it helps a lot.
Yeah, that is good to think about, because I think that's, to be fair, what I was going in there wanting. I just wanted to mess around. I was like, I'm going to do a couple missions, but then I just want to cruise around in the city and like have some fun. But yeah, definitely, obviously, even like because it has a separation of campaign mode and like free play mode, it seems like it's a lot more focused on yeah, like that story side of things, which, you know, nothing wrong with that, but that's just, I guess, not what I was looking for at that point in time. And then since the game just feels quite janky, I'm like not super thrilled with the gameplay elements of it. But
Yeah.
the story, like, you know, good cinematography, like good voice acting, like it seems like that it definitely is a focus of it. And that stuff does look great in the game. It's just more when you're in the open world and you see someone in the distance who's like bugging out, and it's like, okay, this looks a little weird.
Doing the
Like,
Morrowind walk.
oh yeah, big time. But like, yeah, when you're actually in the story stuff, it all kind of plays quite well. So yeah, kind of an interesting like curiosity to jump back into this series that I've never really played before.
And I'm very curious with like all that being said, like what they do for the old country, like if it's gonna feel more of a sandboxy or if it like similar, because like I guess it's accurate. Old vehicles fucking sucked compared to what they are now. So like they probably weren't fun to drive like they are now, and as dangerous with how fast they can go. But I mean, we're gonna be even older. We're going to the old country now. But I think it would be a bit of a letdown if the world isn't like something that you want to explore in. Because I think Mafia 2, again, a long time ago when I played it, but like I thought the city looked gorgeous, but I never felt like I just want to go adventuring. And I think the story did a good job at kind of covering the main areas of the city, so you kind of get to experience it. So I never really felt like I was curious, like what's around that corner. Like I never really had those thoughts. But yeah, I'm very curious on what's going to be the formula and the balance for Old Country.
I feel like it does have an opportunity here to kind of crush it just with the GTA delay. You know, we didn't know exactly when that game was going to come out anyway, but like let's say it did come out before Old Country, then I think that would have been a really bad sign. You know, if it did come out after, maybe Old Country would have had some space, but I feel like I'm probably not alone here and really craving a game like this right now. And even if this isn't quite that, it'll at least get people like in the door. And maybe if Old Country is really great and it does have some of those fun antics kind of things, like if it, you know, has some funny clips that people are seeing on TikTok or YouTube Shorts and whatnot, and people are like, oh, I got to pick this game up in the way that like I remember like Yakuza did that, and Travis was like, "What? This game's like GTA?" And it's like, I want to play that right now. I feel like right now that could be especially pressing for a lot of people who are just frothing at the mouth for this next GTA game, especially hot off the delay. So yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see what this Old Country situation looks like. I don't think I'd be picking it up day one or anything like that, but you know, if it hits a one of these streaming services or something, I'd be down to check it out because this is a kind of fun one to go back to.
For sure.
So yeah. Little bit of Mafia in the mix there.
Hell yeah.
Any other thoughts, Kirkland? Any other games or anything you wanted to share today?
No, I'm all dried up.
All dried up. Well, thank you for joining me. This was a fun, very rambly episode, which I think the best episodes usually are. It's a big week for me and you. We already did 2 episodes. If your week starts on Sunday, for a lot of people it does.
The calendar apparently does. Together. I found that out like last year and it blew my mind. Yeah.
You sure did. This is our 3rd episode. We're doing Weekly Geek tomorrow, and then we have regular GV newscast, and then after that as well. So me and you are just oh my god, doing everything.
Jeez.
It's crazy.
I'll make sure I look good for you because you're going to be seeing me a lot. Don't want you to get tired of my face.
Okay, you look fine, man. You look just fine. Don't worry about me.
Thank you. You look good too.
We're going to be sick of each other at the end of the week, though, for sure.
Yeah. And I just won't see you for a week. That's sometimes how it goes on the schedule.
That does happen sometimes. But thank you for joining me. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.